The other thing I wanted to do, and we have a couple hours left to do another project. Here's one of the things, and if y'all don't know, I'm trying to reorganize some of my supplies because Rach 0113 is inspiring me and Jean and some others to do some organized. Now my room, I gotta say, it's pretty organized, but some of my supplies just sit there like the sprays. I don't use them. I didn't know which ones were good, which ones were bad. So I did the sprays this morning. I do want to do some other things like my scrapbook paper. Now I have done my scrapbook paper. I don't really scrapbook anymore, but I love my papers for other projects, art journals. I still do tons of art journaling, collage. That's another thing I want to sort out is all my collage paper. I have my collage papers in books. I have books of like my Tiffany book and books that I have I got on clearance to use in my collage. I have a big box that I flip through. I have calendars. I have I have drawers. And I'll retell you my collage. I'm going to turn around here and tell you the names of the sections that I have in those towers like this. These towers like this of colored drawers. Well, I have one full tower dedicated, hey Miko, dedicated to collage stuff. And I have them organized by type. Like this one is watches and mechanicals. So I'm going to just kind of turn my head here and tell you the categories that I have. So I have watches and mechanicals, flowers, trees, and food in one drawer, doors and architecture, birds and bugs, animals, scenery and maps, people and faces, colors and patterns, books, letters, and music, and the final one is just miscellaneous. So I have 10 drawers of collage stuff, and I have to be honest with you, I don't go into those drawers as much as I should. I'm more apt to go into my big box that I can flip through and just randomly pick. But I have a ton of books, like my Tiffany book and all these different books that I buy on clearance, and calendars and things that I'll tear little bits out of. And I really need to go through those books, peel out what I want. Like, let me show you here. I have the Tiffany one in here. The other ones are in the other room on a bookshelf. So I need to go through all these books and tear out what I want and just get rid of the books, or reuse the books for art journals, right? Make my own journals out of them. But this book right here, it's probably more than halfway. There's just a few pages left in it. So I could definitely go through this and tear out, let's just tear it from the very beginning, because I'll turn it into a journal. So I just need the covers. I don't need any of the papers. See, now, what my plan was to do a little bit of scrapbook papering going through. But I have bins. All right, so for instance, that I'll keep, and then so I can get rid of everything out of this book. So I have tons of collage fodder, tons of books I use for collage. But they pile up. Hey, Kimmy. They pile up I have 2 bookshelves in the other room. Full bookshelves of books that I use for collage. I don't need the books. I just need the pages. Because then what I'll do is when I'm doing a collage, I'll take a little bit, say like this, and that little bit will be something in a collage. If y'all have ever done collage, you know how the fodder, see like this, I don't need that, how the fodder will pile up. And so I'll keep some of this or this. See my dilemma with collage-y stuff? Like I like all this, so I'll just keep it, I'll just fold it, because it's, you know, way bigger than what I would use. So just to get rid of the hardcover books. Or you could take these books like this and turn them into your altered books, your altered journal books, like, y'all know. Let me grab one to sample, show you a sample. I have two I'm working in. These are two books that I'm actually altering. So for instance, in Abandoned Places here, let me get to one of my favorite pages. I'm not going to go through these. I've gone through these tons of times, like this. This is the last one we did. So this is an altered, I totally altered what was in the book. I used the page as a base to do something with. And so you're altering a book to your own world. Like this. The building is here. I totally altered the sky and all the little doors with paint. And in this case, it's just paint. But, you know, you can use collage and paint. So this is another one we did. This one's recorded as well. So, yeah. So this is Abandoned Places. And then the other one I'm working in, Eileen sent me this one, Forgotten Heritage. I think I have 1 or 2 pages done in this one. Here. This page right here is done. And again, there are videos on these. And then I have one other page, I think, done in here. I don't remember if it's toward the front or toward the back. See, and I have little bits of collage stuck where I'll want to work on it. Where's the other page I have finished? So not only do I do these kind of collages, for some reason I'm thinking it's more toward the front, but I could be wrong. But I'll use blank, I'll start with blank pages in like a Dilutions journal. I have like 4 of those going. It must be toward the front here. This one. So we have this one done. So look, here's where I've used some of the stained glass. Okay, some of the Tiffany stained glass stuff, bits here and here. And then did my own like mist and stuff, a watch right there. So if you want to do alter a already, you know, book that you love, or start with a blank journal, and here's where I've done the covers, and then start and do your own starting from scratch with the blank page. A lot of people are intimidated by starting by a blank page to do collage, and that's why I say to try it with a altered book collage kind of thing, because you got something to start with rather than just a blank page like these. So here's some done ones here. This is what it starts out like this, or like this, and then we turn them into things like this. And again, videos on all these. So that being said, I'm constantly using collage bits, but I don't need these huge books. So this is the kind of stuff I need to sort. Like I would like just like 1 or 2 of these little flowers, something like that. So night, Marilyn, sleep well. So I don't need all the text either. And again, you can buy these books for on clearance. See how pretty? I get them at my Books A Million, and when I take them up to the counter, they go, "Oh, what are you going to do with all those clearance books?" I'd stop saying, "Oh, I'm going to cut them up." I made one of the managers freak out one time. You're going to cut them up? What do you mean you're going to cut them up? And I said, well, let me ask you this. If those books don't sell, what are you going to do with them? What'll happen to them? What'll happen to all those books? And he looked at me like, oh, yeah, well, yeah, well, yeah. So you are saving, you're recycling, and you tear your books up that you get from Amazon cheap. Yeah, exactly. So what I'm trying to do in this case is I want to save the covers to show you you can use that too. Now, my purpose, I should just get some scissors. My purpose today in this segment was to make some journals out of some old scrapbook paper, because scrapbooking, not only do I have this collage-y stuff, this was a Tiffany stained glass gift wrap paper set, but this will be perfect for putting the leftovers in here. So it'll be a nice little folder of Tiffany stuff rather than a big hardback book that I may or may not use. So I have I have 2 bins of scrapbook paper that are at least probably 2, well, the bins are like, one I think is 2 feet and one's 3 feet. So I have at least 5 feet of scrapbook paper, and I already gave away like 2 feet of it. So my plan was here, until I got rabbit trailed onto this, was to pick some scrapbook paper and make some mini journals. So, like, that's a good little face right there. Giving the book people. But you know, again, all right, so say like this is a great little bit right there. I can make a whole world out of this, and that's no joke. I can make a whole world out of that. As a matter of fact, I think I'll put this in one of my altered books. So, okay, I shouldn't take the time I still have about 20 pages here. I think you get the idea. So I need to finish this. Here's a loose page right here. Let's just, I think I saved it for this. So let's just save that. Put that in here. So let's just put all this to close this for now. But I did whittle it down. Yeah, you're messing with me. Yeah, I know. Y'all, that's okay. All right. So anyway, my point is in my organization that I'm going along with Rach O113. If y'all don't know Rach O, the letter O 113 on YouTube, then where you been? Just saying. Anyway, so she's reorganizing and she's doing like a daily thing. I don't know how many days. If she said, I didn't hear, but she's up to like day 9 or 10 now, and I'm one day behind on watching. And she's going literally through every single supply she has. Now, I'm not going to redo all that recording for every supply. I don't know. I can't say I'm not. But we did pens and pencils, and then today we did spray inks. And so I did those 2 things. I need to do my collage stuff, and I need to, well, there's a lot of things I need to do. But anyway, especially scrapbooking paper. Because I really don't scrapbook very rarely, if at all. But I love my scrapbook papers. I do like them for other projects. And let me zoom in one. And I do, there we go. I want to use them more. Do you have bought Daphne Diaries books? I have bought her magazine. I do. I don't have the most recent one, Miko. I have the one before that, and I have cut that up. The other thing too, and that brings up a good point. Miko asked if I have the Daphne's Diary magazine. It's a UK magazine, and I love it. My mom loves it even more than I do because she likes recipes and fabrics and things and stuff. I like it for the patterns and the the cool stuff I can cut out of it. And so a magazine journal is another thing that you could do if you don't want to alter a book or you're afraid to alter a book, the benefits of altering a book is the pages are thicker. If you use a magazine journal, here, let me grab one of mine. I think I have 5 of them. I have 5 of these going at once. And I glue 2 magazines together, and you do the same kind of thing. I call it reverse collage. You paint out what you don't want, you collage stuff on top, and if you use matte medium and paint and all that, your pages end up getting quite thick. But they're not as thick as a book. So you have to remember that. But as you can see, these pages are not wrinkled. Now this is just a piece of something torn out. That's just stuck in there. But as you can see, they're not warpy or anything. They're not warpy. So if you want to do a magazine journal, the only thing is I would recommend, if you do a magazine journal, is to remember to work front, back, front, back, front, back. Because if you work just straight on front, sorry, this is warping a little as it is, just from going front to back. But let me show you one again, where if you don't go front to back, this will happen to your spine. See how warped that one is? That's completely sideways, and there's no getting that back. There's no unwarping that. So if you don't want that to happen to your magazine journals, whether you're using 1 or 2 magazines, whichever, you want to work front to back, and then it'll be better that it'll be flatter. Okay? So yeah, they're fun. So if you're afraid to work in a book, you're afraid you're going to mess up your book you bought, if you want to just do a little bit of practicing with reverse collaging or whiting out text, and when I say white out, it doesn't have to be white, it can be any color, just coloring out your text, adding some collage, you want to practice that before tackling a whole book, then get a magazine. Now, and I'll give you this recommendation as well, whether you do a magazine journal or a altered book journal, is to get one in a topic you like. I like the abandoned places and those kind of rustic abandoned places type books, but not everybody likes those. You may like gardening, so buy you a magazine that has lots of gardening, or a book to alter it's a gardening book, and put doors and windows and all kinds of things in your garden. Because if I can guarantee you, if you do not like the topic or the subject of the magazine or book that you choose, you will not work in it for long, because you won't love it. You have to love it to make and again, I say make a commitment to the book, but I never feel in a hurry to finish any of them. I just work in them as I want, like my abandoned places. I have different things just kind of stuck in here waiting to work on pages. And then right in the middle, I'll have a finished page. And again, if you want to varnish your pages, and now I found out you can't get this at Michael's anymore. Michael's quit selling Delta Ceram Coat. Indoor, outdoor, well, I guess I don't know, maybe they quit carrying all Ceram Coat. But I went to Michael's yesterday to get another one, and they just don't sell it anymore. So you have to get this now at Hobby Lobby. Of course, you can get it at probably other craft stores, and of course on Amazon. But my varnish I use for my collage journals, my art cards, my painting, and my collage mixed media paintings. This is the varnish that I use. Delta Ceram Coat Gloss Exterior Interior Varnish. And I know it's kind of a contradiction because I glue everything down with golden matte medium. So it makes everything matte, because my craft paints that I use are my Americana craft paint, matte, not satin, not gloss. And then, so everything's matte until I add my varnish. So anyway, but it does make your pages thicker. And yeah, the other thing too, Erin, if you like space things, look, I did all this myself. You can do all this space. It's not hard to do nebulas and stuff. The other option is calendars. like I said, My Books a Million, all their calendars the first week of February go on sale for $3. Doesn't matter if it's a $3 calendar or a $25 planner. They all go on sale for $3. That's when I stock up every year and get 10 new calendars a year or something like that. So space calendars, but if you want to do a whole book of space, then you'd look for something that's a full-on book of space. But the thing about a full-on book of just outer space, your space is there. Now I did all this myself. You'll have outer space and planets in there for you, but you won't have anything else. So you kind of have to think about that too. It's almost, to me, easier to get a book of all kinds of imagery and do your own outer space, even if you cut out space and put it in, rather than trying to buy a book all on just space, because then you won't have anything else to work with, right? Well, Melody, mine said they're quit carrying it, so they must have run out at mine, and they're not restocking. So, and again, that was just the one person. She showed me where it used to be because I was standing right there. Well, it used to be right here. She goes, no, we don't carry it anymore. So they may carry it till they run out, but I had to buy a new bottle at Hobby Lobby yesterday. So anyway, this is a way to use your old books. Make your if you are into collage. Now here's the thing, guys, not everybody loves collage, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you don't love it, you're not going to enjoy doing it. I quit doing oil painting. It's too much trouble. It's too much have stuff sitting around waiting for things to dry. I don't enjoy it anymore. I used to like to oil paint, but I don't anymore. So I had to let's just admit it. I don't do it anymore. I don't enjoy it anymore. You got to know yourself. You got to know what you're going to like and what I love me some colored pencils. If I had to pick one thing, I'd say, well, collage and color pencil would be my two mediums of choice. But, yeah, you got to know what you like. Now, here's one that's the page is varnished. So that's a completed page, and it's all varnished. So anyway, so I said all that to say, yeah, find a book you like, or just go with the blank one. Nobody says you have to go with anything that's got something in it. You can start with the blank one, and I like the Dilutions ones because they're thick. The paper is like at least 110, probably more. Cardstock weight. So anyway, okay. So my other idea for the day, we have about an hour and a half left, is I guess we can talk about sorting papers in this one, because that's how I want to sort collage papers. I need to go through all my books that I buy for collage, go through them, tear out the imagery that I want to keep, and I need to get everything in those drawers. Some of them are kind of full, though. I don't know. I have a big box that I flip through. I can't even lift it. Last time I lifted, I hurt my shoulder. Right, Terry? So anyway, okay. So again, to do my scrapbook paper, I can pull out like a stack at a time and sort through it. And I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to just pick out a random stack of my papers. Like I said, I have 5 feet standing up paper, 5 feet at least of scrapbook paper. Because I used to do it, I have 25 at least, 25 3-inch deep binders, 12 by 12 binders of scrapbook pages that I did for years and years and years. I just don't do it that much anymore. Everybody's on their, got their stuff on their phone. I can't even give my scrapbook pages away to the, Denise and Annie. I don't know. We got it on the phone. We got our pictures on the phone, So I have all my scrapbooks here, which I know someday, when they were here at Easter, they went through about 5 or 6 of them. And what they did, now this is really funny, guys. what they did is they opened the scrapbooks up, and when they found a picture of themselves or their friends that they liked, they took a picture of it with their phone. So it's on their phone. So they're taking pictures of my scrapbook pages on their phone, right? Okay, so anyway, that being said, I have tons of scrapbook paper. I wanted to make some mini journals. Now, I have made tons of journals with scrapbook papers. I've even just taken 12 by 12 papers, folded them in half, and made tall, skinny 6 by 6 books. Do I have one in here? Ah. Here's one. Now, don't laugh. This is a binder, an old binder. I cut it down. Look, it's a big, I think it's that 3-inch binder. I cut it down, and this is all scrapbook paper. And I made it into a journal. There's painting, there's journaling, there's writing, there's collage bits, all kinds of stuff. So this is all scrapbook paper based. You use scrapbook paper for collage? Yeah, and I do. I've used, this is a lot of collage in here. Scrapbook paper collage. Okay, as basis. I've done tons of that too. But in this case, what I want to do, there's the inside cover right there. That's an old basic gray. What I want to do is just make some like mini journals in this case. Oh, trust me, I've got walls of journals. I won't go there now. It's making me want to dig through the journals and pull those out. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull out a stack of whatever paper comes in a hand, and I want to try to make some little mini journals. Now my idea is to make them something of the size of, like this size, something like this size. Okay, so this is just a mini collage journal out of paper sacks, out of brown, not sacks, brown envelopes, the brown craft envelopes, you know, mailers, and it's just folded in half. Well, I kind of want to make something like this with the scrapbook paper, and my plan and I bought a big jar of just the cheaper craft paint. I like my Americana, but this is like my gesso, because I don't use gesso, and white out some areas and paint them, and you could even use them for your color book images. I never made a journal. Well, there's thousands of ways to make them. Trust me, I've got tons and tons of the little ones made out of file folders. We even did a whole year project. We did a file folder a month with a different topic, and every month, oh my gosh, let me grab it. Hang on. It's in the other room. I even made its own special box. So these are all file folder journals. We did one, and see, it's just in a box. I can't tilt it too much without holding it here. It's in a box, and they're just sitting here in the box. We did one a month with different topics, and then I've also done ones where it's a complete, here, let me take this, set this on the floor. This one was a project we did, and some of the rubber bands are broke because I've played in it. But it's a rubber band journal made with a game board. You were here for the year file folder days. This was made, the cover's made out of Scrabble board, and every file folder in here is a different topic, and they're all attached. There's all kinds of notes. They're all attached with rubber bands, but however, some have broke. You can see that. Rubber bands will wear out, especially if you're using them a lot. Now, you don't have to use rubber bands in a rubber band journal. You can use twine, string, ribbon. I just use rubber bands because it was a way to show everybody you can do this on the cheap. But you can put pretty ribbon. and twine and all kinds of pretty fibers. It doesn't have to be a rubber band. Anything that will just attach the book. Because in what the book is, are the little file folders, they're attached, and then you can pull them out like this. See? So the file folder is folded up, and they're decorated front and back like this, and then they'll fold right back into the book. And all the topics that we did that year are like that. So you pull it out. We did extra postcards with topics. This was a long year project. I don't even remember what year was it that we did this. Do I say? Let's see. It was from 2012. So this project we did in 2012. This was before I started uploading to YouTube. I've only been uploading to YouTube for about 2 years. And I'm streaming for 7. So this one was from 2012. Anyway, I'm just showing you that you can do so many types of journals with so many types of things. Yes, you can do it with scrapbook, and some of those were done with scrapbook paper, and that was why I pulled that out, and that was my point. But I want to kind of do something about this size. Again, these are made with the brown envelopes. I tried to make this messy and splotchy and scribbly kind. I mean, I did it with calligraphy, but I did it messy with Francis Bacon quotes. So that's what all these are, is Francis Bacon quotes and collage. I've not varnished this. I wanted it to keep that matte, rough look. Yeah, Eileen, I know Laura doesn't like rubber bands. And again, I just did that to show you what's possible with just some rubber bands and some file folders. You can, doll it up as much as you want with ribbons and whatnot, right? So here's this one here. And these are just folded over office envelopes in craft card. This is one of my favorite quotes. Imagination was given to man to compensate him for what he is not. A sense of humor to console him for what he is. That's one of my favorite quotes. Anyway, I love Francis Bacon quotes. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that that's kind of the size I was thinking about with some scrapbook paper. So let's pull some scrapbook paper. We are not organizing all my scrapbook paper today. There's no way. And I know I keep losing color. Well, I'll wait to see what happens when I pull the scrapbook paper in here. Faux dories. Yes, I've done the faux dories with the elastic. Yeah. And I've also, now that we're getting off on the dories, my favorite faux dories are the adorables. They're adorable faux dories, adorables, made by Sister Woman, Scrappy Camper Sister Jonna. And I have 2 that I use. Let me grab them here. See, now we may not get to my, I keep pulling out things to show. These are my 2 adorables that I use. This one I use more. This one I don't use that much, but it's at the ready to use. But and they're like what do you call that inside? Not sizing. What's that interfacing or whatever that makes them stiff like this? And she hand makes these. Oh, sorry, Eileen, for the flamingos. Sorry. And they're so pretty inside and out. Now, she does not make the inserts. She just makes the covers, okay? And she has a pin holder on them. And this is the one that I use all the time. So you can see it's quite fluffy. Do you have a video of varnishing? I only watch all the time coloring. Yeah, probably if you look in my Kimmy, if you look in my mixed media art journaling, or mixed media, where it says mixed media collage in that playlist, because I don't have time to varnish every time on the end of a show. But if you find some that have art cards, if you find mixed media collage art card videos, I usually try at the end to varnish those. But there's really nothing to it. I mean, just, oh, look. Let me just take one of these right here. This is a stack of art cards. This is just like all over the place today, guys. This is like when I get a question, if you're watching on YouTube, if I get a question in chat, I try to say stop and answer it. So if you're watching on YouTube and it's all over the place, it's because I'm answering questions from people in a live chat. So this one's not done, but let's just say it is. Okay. All I do to varnish these is I take my varnish, I put a little dollop about the size of a nickel, and with my finger, I just roll out the varnish like that and spread it out. That's it. That's all I do. That's how I varnish my art cards. I set them aside to dry, and I usually like to leave them overnight. It usually takes like 2 to 3 hours to be completely dry, but if I'm going to mail them to anybody, I like to make sure and leave them overnight so that they're not sticky. But this varnish is not sticky, and that's why I love this varnish in my art journals. As long as you leave your art journal open overnight to make sure it's 100%, don't hit it with the heat gun. You got to let it air dry and let it sit overnight. My pages never stick with this varnish. That's why I love this varnish. And it's the exact same thing I do in my art journal pages, except instead of with my finger in an art journal page, I just use these foam brushes. Okay. All right, so anyway, that's what this big, and I add the charms. I don't mind charms. Where's Janet? I don't mind adding charms to my journals as long as they're on the bottom. I don't like any kind of charms on the spine because then you can't use it. You can't lie it flat and without it being bumpy on the spine. But I don't mind things hanging off of the end of my journals. So anyway, and if you want to see how the inserts are done, just go on YouTube and look up a faux dory, or you know, just look up inserts. It shows you exactly how they're done. Okay, so there's that kind, but I have all kinds of my own kind of journals. Like this one is my own handmade journal. It's made out of scrapbook paper, and instead of rubber bands, I use the stretchy string. You can get it in the beading department. Do I have any loose? You can get it in the beading department. Here, I got some. Of Hobby Lobby or Michael's, it's this stuff. So instead of using rubber bands, this is elastic, and it comes in like nature colors, it comes in brights, it comes in glittery colors, comes in all kinds of colors. And there's a lot on it. So what it is, it's like a rubber band, but it's not going to snap eventually like a rubber band. So if you're going to make a journal that you really don't want it to, you know, rubber bands to end up breaking, again, I use rubber bands just to show you how you can do it. But tie you off some stretchy string from the beading department instead of rubber bands. And then if you leave tails on the bottom, like I did on my Adorables, then you can add charms and stuff. Okay, so this is awesome for making journals with. Okay, let's see. And I have tons of ribbon I need to sort. Ribbons and fibers. I used to keep them all on little cards, little, you know, like embroidery floss cards, and I had them all in, you know, the beading boxes that have all the little dividers. I used to have all my ribbon, back when I was scrapbooking, all my ribbons and fibers divided up in boxes by color. I'd have a green box, a blue box, a pink box, or maybe pink and red, a yellow and orange, you know. And I had beading boxes full of ribbon that were all neatly wound.